Hey guys, good to see you here. It's Monday night, 8 o'clock, at least in Denver time or Montana time, and it's much later than that out in Connecticut. And graciously tonight, Mary Ann Wasil has agreed to stay up late and come visit with us out at the Connecticut. Boy, that's a big word. The CT state. And so, Mary Ann, why don't you say hi and introduce yourself here?
Hello, hello everyone. My name is Mary Ann Wasil, and yes, as Roy told you, I am in Connecticut where it is dark and the moon is bright and it's hot and humid this evening. And I'm a 10-year breast cancer survivor and thrilled that Roy has invited me to join you this evening.
Well, thanks for coming on. And I guess I found you just kind of going through the internet looking at different programs, and you have a couple of exciting things, your blog site or your own website, and then your foundation. And I guess, why don't you just start with kind of your story and then end up what you're doing?
Sure, I'm happy to do that. Well, 10 and a half years ago, I was a 39-year-old mother of three. My children, at the time, my son had just turned 10. My daughters were turning 12 and 13, and I felt a lump on my left breast that I had never felt there before. I knew my body really well. I knew what was normal for me, and I knew that this was not normal for me. So I called my gynecologist, and she immediately sent me in for a mammogram and an ultrasound. So the mammogram was negative. Dense breast tissue, and as women, I like to think that most women know about breast density right now, but breast density, in younger women is a very common thing, and so my mammogram was normal, completely negative. They didn't see anything, which is also like looking for a snowflake in a snowstorm, so that's why it was negative. I did have an ultrasound, and it showed what the radiologist called calcifications, and he called me the next day and he said to me, Mary Ann, you're 39 years old, you have no family history of breast cancer, I think these are calcifications, let's just watch it for a year. And I was not comfortable with that. Okay. Not comfortable at all with that. So I actually, interestingly enough, Roy, when he was speaking to me on the phone, he had the phone under his chin. And we all know what that sounds like when someone talks to you with the mouthpiece under their chin. And he was chewing. He was eating lunch, telling me this news. And so I said, I think I'm going to see a surgeon. Now, I had already made an appointment with a surgeon, so I am not sure why I used that voice when I told him, almost apologetically. And I will say it was the last time I ever used that voice. Okay. And when I said, I think I'm going to see a surgeon, he actually snorted at me and went, fine, you can do that. And I said, absolutely fine, I am going to do that. You're fired. And so I did see a surgeon. I had a biopsy. Turns out my whole left breast was full of cancer. It was already in my lymph nodes, and I was stage 2. So this required a protocol of dose-dense chemotherapy, which was chemotherapy every other week for 16 weeks, after which the recommendation from my doctors was to have mastectomy. I knew I had to have the mastectomy, but they also recommended strongly that I have a bilateral mastectomy. It was hard. It was hard to wrap my head around that. I know it's, there are other women that my oldest sister was diagnosed with breast cancer 2 years after I was, and very matter of fact said, okay, that's it, I'll do that. It was hard for me. I couldn't get my head around one breast, never mind two. And
did you have the genetic testing at that time?
Incredibly. I'm sorry, Roy?
Did you have the BRCA testing at that point, or?
I didn't have it at that point. I had it actually after I did all of my surgeries and all of my treatment, and I was negative for it, which is really fascinating since my sister was diagnosed so soon after I was. I'm really grateful to my doctors for being so strong with me. They said, Mary Ann, we can't promise you that you would ever have a recurrence, that you would ever get breast cancer in your other breast, but we feel very strongly that you should do this because we can't promise you that you won't. And as it turns out, after I had my bilateral mastectomy and they did the pathology on my right breast, remarkably, even after 16 weeks of dose-dense, life-saving chemotherapy, I had developed another cancer in my right breast. So it really was more than luck. Certainly, it was really, their brilliance really saved my life. And all was well, and I went into treatment really strong and healthy. I had just run the New York City Marathon. My body was strong, my mind and my soul always strong. I'm a faithful Christian. It's a big part of who I am, my family. So we prayed for strength. We prayed for a lot of strength to get through whatever it was that we had to get through, and we did. But at that time, I looked at my daughters who, like I said, they were turning 12 and 13, and I said to them, the night that I found out that I was diagnosed with breast cancer, I said to my daughters, you need to lay down, I need to show you how to do a breast self-exam. And they said to me, we don't have any breasts.
Okay.
And I said, I know, but you will. And you need to know what your normal, healthy breast tissue feels like. Because, Roy, I never had a family history of breast cancer.
Well, so you were the very first one, weren't you?
Yes, the very first one. And so if this happened to me at 39 with no family history, I looked at my daughters whose bodies were changing and they were just starting to come into their bodies. And I thought, I don't want them to be afraid of who they are. I want them to always appreciate and embrace who they are, and never from a place of fear. I wanted them to be to learn about breast health before they learned about breast cancer. So I did. I taught them how to do breast self-exam, and several of their friends, their moms actually said to me, hey, we have breast cancer in our family. Will you show our girls how to do a breast self-exam?
Yeah.
So I said, of course I would. And I actually, my children were in elementary school, and I said, I think that we should do that breast self-exam program when you talk to the girls in 5th grade about health and hygiene and menstruation. And she said, yeah, there isn't anything like that. And I said, of course there is. Everything exists already. Everything has been invented. And she said, yeah, it's a great idea, Mary Ann, but I don't know of anything like that. And so I went to my pediatrician. I spoke with my oncologist and my surgeon and my breast surgeon, my plastic surgeon, and you name it. And I talked to them all, educators, and they said, that's a great idea, and we'd love to help you do it. And so I thought, okay, well then we will do it, and we'll create this nonprofit organization so that we can give this program for free to schools all over the world. And I did it with the thought that it would be for 5th grade girls, and really it grew exponentially when a school nurse that we had on our board of directors was really instrumental in helping me pull together a focus group of school nurses here in my town in Connecticut, in Milford, Connecticut. And she said, Mary Ann, we really need to give this program to girls from 5th grade through 12th grade. As long as we have them in front of us as a school nurse where we can get to them and teach them, we have to beat them over the heads with this. We really have to make sure that we give this to them while they're with us. And I said, sure, okay. I had no idea how I was going to make this happen, Roy.
Okay.
But believe it or not, it was actually easier to present it to school nurses and health educators and say, look, this is for 5th grade. School systems order it for their 5th graders through their 12th graders. Some school systems order it just for 12th grade or just for 9th grade. And they can pick and choose and tailor the year that they want to implement this program, which I think is the beauty of it, because we are working with school nurses and we tell them all the time we are giving them a tool that helps them do the already incredible work that they're doing. It aids them, it assists them, it's a resource to assist them in their relationship and in the work that they're doing.
So how do you teach these girls how to do it? Is it video or?
Well, we have our Daisy Wheel, which is our tool. The Daisy Wheel has 8 tips on it that teach a girl the importance of and how to do a breast self-exam. And we actually have on our website, so it's getontouchfoundation.org, and you can see a sample of the Daisy Wheel. We have a free app on the iTunes store. I'm trying to take one out here for you. So this is the Daisy Wheel. So it spins, and there are 8 tips on there. And on the back side, there are corresponding little diagrams.
Yeah.
And like I said, it teaches a girl, actually girls and guys, because 1 year ago we actually changed our mission statement, and it is to reflect the fact that men do get breast cancer. And we have many schools in Europe, actually, that when they order our program, they order for the boys and the girls. They don't just give it to the girls. Okay. We find it more typical overseas in schools that do that than here in the U.S. But when we launched the program on September 1st, 2009, schools in 23 states signed up in the first 24 hours.
Really? Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I know. And you know, and I do a lot of public speaking, and I tell this story, and every time I say it, I could say it again right now. Schools in 23 states in the first 24 hours signed up for our program, and I can't get over it. It was so amazing. And so then very quickly, schools all over the United States and all over the world, so this Daisy Wheel we give free to schools. When school nurses go to our website and sign up, they can have as many of these as they want shipped to their school, and it's an automatic renewal, so they'll get that every year.
Wow,
which is really wonderful.
That's amazing.
It is amazing. And so we have put over 500,000 of these Daisy Wheels into the hands of girls all over the globe, and they are in all 50 states in the U.S. And in 26 countries. And then we also have on the iTunes store, we have a free app on the iTunes store. It's called Daisy Wheel, and that was launched in June of 2011, so just 3 years ago, and that has been downloaded in countries, really unbelievable, in countries where we would never be able to get our actual Daisy Wheel into the hands of girls. They're finding us, and they're downloading the Daisy Wheel app on their iPhones, and we know we're saving lives, and it's an incredible feeling.
That really is amazing, just the number of people that jumped on that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you must go to sleep with a great big smile on your face every night.
Yes, when I sleep, yes. I've got a lot of energy, but I do. I'm very, it's very rewarding. I feel really, really blessed. 10 years ago, what could have been the worst situation in my life, we really, as a family, because my children are all founding board members of the Get in Touch Foundation, so as a family, it's what we really committed ourselves to. We wanted to be sure that we took this time in our lives, and I say this often, I wanted to make sure that my children would look back at this time in our lives and say, that was awesome, and not, that was awful. No matter what would happen, I wanted to make sure that we did something with this time that was life-giving, and so I think we're doing it.
You kind of have an interesting background as far as work goes. Were you ever terrified in the beginning, or was that just part of your work ethic? Jump in there, get the bag.
Not much scares me. Roy. Okay, so this is the thing. You ready? I'm an ex-cop. I used to be on a soap opera. I worked for the Catholic Church, and I have cancer. So I've done a lot of scary things in my life, and the scariest thing, the thing that you would think would be the scariest, isn't really the scariest thing I've done. So
Okay.
there's not much that really scares me. Life fascinates me. I'm not really afraid. I do all my homework, and I surround myself with the smartest people I know.
Yeah.
And I think that's the key to anything that you do. The key to its success. I work with people who advise me. I consult with great minds and great educators, and I listen to them. I don't have my own agenda. I listen to people who are smarter than I am in their field, and together, when we collaborate, we have made great things happen.
Well, that's what I keep stressing to a lot of patients. Become the chairman of your team or the captain of your team, and get the smart people around you and ask them their opinions, and then you come up with the game plan according to what makes sense to you and the whole group. And that's amazing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Good advice. The best.
Now, you had a story about a drunk driver. Cancer being the drunk driver.
Cancer is a drunk driver. Yes, cancer is a drunk driver, and my oncologist, she's really wonderful. She's a great storyteller, and she has this wonderful way of explaining treatment to me. And she said to me, it doesn't matter. Like, you can have a beautiful Formula One race car, perfect in mint condition, and that's your body. But cancer is a drunk driver, and it doesn't matter how beautiful and perfect and shiny and fast that car is. When that driver is behind the wheel, you got problems. So rather than damage the vehicle to get the vehicle to stop, to remove the driver, there are new targeted therapies that I have been really blessed to take advantage of in the last 3 years, because I did have, 3 years ago, I had a metastatic recurrence, a regional treatable non-visceral relapse. So it's treatable. I've been in treatment for the last 3 years, and it's so far not in my organs, and we've been able to just stay ahead of it, at every step of the way here. And luckily, the treatment hasn't been too difficult. The targeted therapies are remarkable. They really do go in, and she explained it like a very stealth-like. They fly alongside that race car and just go in and grab the driver out, instead of the traditional therapies of the past were roadblocks and spikes in the road, and you're damaging the car. So it's a really wonderful way of explaining treatment. I love her stories.
I like that, because everybody says, why did I get this? And they all say, like you did, that you did everything appropriately. And I say it's, why is not the right question. What can I do now is the better question.
That's right. That's right. What are we going to do, and how are we going to do it? Let's do it. I'm never one to wonder why. I know that people say, why me? I say, why not me? Why not me? I had a nephew. My nephew is 22 years old, and he is, or 21. He's remarkable, healthy college student. But when he was 4, turning 5, he had a Wilms tumor. It was devastating to our family. And when this beautiful, healthy, robust little boy gets that sick, everything changes. It was a game changer for all of us, emotionally, mentally, psychologically. I never, ever would think that couldn't happen to me. Of course, if that could happen to him, of course it could happen to me. And it did happen to me. And so he, all these years, has been my hero. I watched what that little boy did and how he faced everything that he went through with such courage. I mean, he just was fearless. And I thought during my first time around, and even now, I remember him, and I think I could do this. Yeah, I could do this.
Way to go.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell us more about the foundation, how y'all get the money to do everything you do?
Well, I guess there are several ways that we raise the funding necessary to provide this program for free to girls in schools all over the world. So each Daisy Wheel actually costs us about $2 a piece to produce. So we certainly love when schools make a donation, and we're very grateful when they do. Every nickel, every penny that anyone donates to us, we're very, very grateful for. So we ask schools if they would like to host a Get Your Pink On Day, because our acronym is GIT, so it is Get Your Pink On. And oftentimes schools will do this, and they'll have a pink dress down day, and they'll encourage kids to wear pink and donate $1, and they'll donate it to Get in Touch, which is really terrific. And then one of the bigger ways that we raise funding is through our Pretty in Pink and Women of Strength events. And this October in Connecticut will be our 10th annual Pretty in Pink Brunch and Women of Strength Awards. And we do them all over the country. So it's the 10th event that we'll be having in Connecticut this year. But just a few months ago, we had our first one in Los Angeles. We had our second annual Pretty in Pink in New York City. We had one in Charlotte, North Carolina, and Charlottesville, Virginia, Boston, Massachusetts, the Lehigh Valley, Pennsylvania. So we do them all over the country, and they're really wonderful. The one that we do here in Connecticut, it's a Sunday brunch at a beautiful country club in our town, and we have 200 guests. Not all women. Lots of men come. We have wonderful speakers and sometimes performers, and we have honorees that are really special. So at all of our events, we always honor a survivor, and we want to hear what the survivor has to say and what this experience has meant to her. And we also honor and invite to speak a member of what we call our healing team. So my oncologist 10 years ago said to me, in referring to my group, my people, loved ones, family, friends, she referred to those people as my healing team, and I loved that.
That's nice.
I loved it so much, and I thought, we do hear from survivors often, and that's an important voice to hear from. But every survivor has at least 100 people on their healing team, at least.
Yeah.
I mean, certainly more than that. But that's your friends, your family, your neighborhood, your workplace, your church, the store where you shop, your gym. We all have about 100 people in our lives that I think something like this, a big challenge or illness in our lives, it doesn't just affect us. It affects our healing team. And so we love to hear from people that we say from the healing team. So we've had a hairdresser. I have a friend who has shaved the heads of, she knows the exact number, like 892 women she has shaved their head before they've gone into treatment. Different people like that. It's really wonderful. It's a different perspective, and an important one, and an important perspective.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow, I think you need to get a bigger vision.
Oh, you think?
I'm joking.
Well, let me tell you. I'll tell you a little
secret. It's humongous what you have going. It really is.
We are going to, we're going to have a boys program that we're in the process of developing for testicular exam, because we do get requests from school nurses every day for a boys program for testicular exam. So, yes, so we are working on that, and hopefully in the next year, maybe at some point in 2015. That will be out, and then I could come back and talk to you about that and what we're doing for boys and men.
Yeah.
Okay.
You mentioned about men with breast cancer. I do have a guy coming on the show probably the second week of August talking about breast cancer in men. So it does happen to these guys.
It does, and unfortunately, right, when it happens to them, many of the times it's at a later stage, and the results with treatment are not as good, because they just don't realize that can happen to them, and that it is something that they should do, is to be checking themselves. My doctor said to me early on, 10 years ago, I kept saying, my daughters, my daughters, my daughters, and she said to me, Mary Ann, I just want you to know your son is as much at risk as your daughters are.
Yeah.
You know that. And I did not know that. I really didn't. So this has been a learning process for me as well in these last 10 years. I'm not a medical person. Like I said, I'm an ex-cop, I'm an actress. I did development and advancement for, an educational institution. This is not what my sisters are nurses, not me.
Oh,
but
okay.
I'm a professional patient, that's what I say.
Okay. So what words would you get to the new lady or new guy with breast cancer? What
words of advice would I give?
Yeah.
Well, okay, so this is what I like to say. I think that any challenge in your life, any deep, profound challenge, whether it is cancer or grief or anything that really challenges you, I think it makes you a bigger version of who you already are. So really, my question is to anyone that has not yet faced that challenge, and I say, who are you? Who are you? Because there will be a point in your life where you will face a challenge, and you will be a bigger version of yourself. And so do you want to be optimistic and hopeful? Do you want to be alive and really optimistic?
Yeah, nice.
That's important to remember.
Okay. Two things then. Your website address. Why don't you tell people how to find you, and the get in touch address?
Okay. Well, my personal website is, and I have a book called The Diary of Healing. My Intense and Meaningful Life with Cancer, and that information can all be found on my website, which is MaryAnnWasil.com. And then the Get in Touch Foundation can be the very, very simple email website. It's getintouchfoundation.org, and all the information that you could possibly want about our organization is there. Everything about our Daisy Wheel and our program, and how your school and your community can get our Daisy Wheels at no cost. So we hope that if anyone's watching that does not have our program, that they go to our website, find out a little more, and let a school nurse or a health educator in their community know about the Get in Touch Foundation.
Okay. You got me all excited just sitting here listening to you talk and jump around. Yeah.
And I have to go to sleep after this. At least you're up for it.
Yeah. Well, I'll think about it about 2 hours while you're fighting sleeping, and then I'll.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what. Let me sign off, and I want you to stay on, and because I want to talk to you about a couple of things.
Sure.
So once again, thank you, Mary Ann Wasil, for joining us, and go to her website, Mary Ann Wasil, and I'll have the letters tomorrow up on the video for people on YouTube, so you can see it easy, and then the getintouchfoundation.org I'll have up there tomorrow. And now, guys, you go to bed, and I'm going to talk to Mary Ann for a while, and see you later. Bye.